Friends, today's story is about a billionaire who did something no one could understand. He left the glitz, the fame, the wealth to marry a blind woman from the slums. But the reason why will shake you to your core. Armand Mehra stood motionless at the edge of his glass balcony, sipping his black coffee. The view of Los Angeles stretched out beneath him like a postcard. Billionaire, CEO. Everyone called him a genius. But no one knew the storm behind his eyes. Today marked exactly 7 years since he made the most outrageous, most questioned decision of his life. He married Zoya, a blind woman from the slums of Mumbai. He closed his eyes. The world called it madness. His mother called it betrayal. But no one ever asked why. Rain pounded the broken rooftops as a younger Armand stumbled through the narrow alleyways, soaked in blood and fear. He'd just been mugged during a solo backpacking trip through India, something he did to escape the suffocating pressure of corporate life. He collapsed outside a shack, his vision blurred. A gentle, trembling voice echoed from the shadows. "Are you okay? Please, someone help." That voice belonged to Zoya, 22. Blind since birth, orphaned since 16, and barely surviving by weaving handloom fabrics. She pulled him inside. Her small home smelled of wet earth, oil lamps, and jasmine. There was no electricity, no luxury, no reason she should have helped, but she did. She nursed him for a week, spoon-feeding him, bandaging his wounds, staying up all night when he cried out in pain, and not once did she ask who he was. To her, he was just a man who needed help. To him, she was light in the middle of his darkest night. Armand's phone buzzed, a breaking news alert. Zoya Mehra's foundation raises $5 million for blind orphan girls across South Asia. He smiled quietly. Across the table, his board members squirmed. "Mr. Mehra, no offense, but don't you think it's time to move on from this image? You're not a charity. You're a brand. Investors are nervous. You married a blind woman no one had ever heard of. People still think it was some wild PR stunt." Armand leaned forward, calm but sharp. "The day I start making decisions based on what strangers think is the day I become one of them." Armand never told Zoya he was rich. He pretended to be a struggling freelancer, teaching English online to make ends meet. She believed him. And yet, they laughed. They danced in the rain. They ate street food on rooftops. And every evening she would sit cross-legged and say, "You're the first person who didn't treat me like I was broken." Armand's heart would ache. Because he was the broken one, she just didn't know it. The waves crashed around them. Zoya's white cane leaned against a rock. Armand knelt down, holding a tiny silver ring. "I know you can't see this ring, but I want you to feel it, because it's the only thing I have that's worthy of you." Zoya gasped, hands trembling. "But I'm blind, poor. Why would you choose someone like me?" His voice cracked. "Because you saved me when I had nothing, and because I never want to go a day without hearing your laugh again." Armand's mother screamed. His father disowned him. "You married a blind girl from the slums. Are you insane? What will the world say?" Armand didn't flinch. "They'll say I married the only woman who ever saw the real me." Zoya struggled to adjust to the opulence. She often bumped into glass walls, felt lost in oversized rooms, and missed the simplicity of her old life. At night, she'd whisper, "I don't belong here, Armand." But he'd always pull her close and say, "This house doesn't feel like home unless you're in it." Still, doubts crept in. The staff treated her like a charity case. Neighbors stared. Paparazzi followed her. And one day, she heard it. From a distant corner at a charity event. She must have trapped him. No way he married her out of love. Zoya sat in their room, her hands shaking. "Armand, tell me the truth. Did you marry me out of guilt or to look good in the media? Was this all just pity?" Armand stood frozen. Then he whispered, "Do you remember the night you found me? You saved a stranger's life. But what you don't know is I had tried to get mugged that night. Zoya's head snapped up, her face drained. What? I was trying to disappear. I hated my life. I had everything except peace. I didn't care if I lived or died. He knelt in front of her. You didn't just save my life, Zoya. You gave me a reason to live again. Flashback to a quiet hospital file room. Zoya, after their fight, had asked her friend, a nurse, to pull old records. What she found shattered her. Patient name, Arman Mehra. Status, attempted suicide, critical stab wounds, treated by local clinic, brought in by unidentified blind woman. She fell to her knees. He never used her. He never pitied her. He loved her because she was the one who saved him when no one else would. Zoya walked confidently to the mic at her foundation's first annual gala. Her cane tapped softly. She wore a silver sari. The entire room was standing. Arman stood in the crowd, teary-eyed. Zoya smiled. A wise man once told me that sometimes the only person who can truly see you is the one who can't see your face. To the blind girls who are told they are less, you are not. You are the light. I know, because I once was you. Thunderous applause. And so the rich man married the blind poor woman, not because she needed him, but because she once gave him something money never could. A second chance. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. We bring you real, emotional stories every week, stories that reveal the truth behind the headlines and the love behind the pain.